Breaking news now. Erdogan is the only one who can get Putin to restart the grain deal. It is likely that only Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan can persuade Russian President Vladimir Putin to rejoin the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Ukrinform cites an interview with Reuters in which Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba makes this claim. Probably the only person who can get President Putin interested in the Black Sea Grain Initiative again is President Erdogan, he said. It was devastating for Africa that Russia refused to extend the grain deal that allows Ukrainian grain to leave Black Sea ports last month. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin has visited Africa 3 times since Russia's war broke out. Ukraine's goals in Africa include working together in the fields of education, construction, and digitalization, he said. We're not interested in making unilaterally beneficial investments in Africa like Russia is. The Wagner PMC is Russia's largest investment in Africa, and it's an investment in the danger of Africa, Kuleba said. The second meeting of national security advisors and political directors on key principles of peace based on President Zelensky's peace formula was held on August 5–6 in Jeddah, which he described as a breakthrough for a number of reasons. The dynamics of this process have met with our complete approval. In my opinion, the Jeddah summit was a major turning point. The minister went on to say that this was the first time that countries from all over the world, not just Europe and North America, had come together. He said that in recent weeks there has been a dramatic increase in the number of countries interested in attending meetings like the one in Jeddah, and that these events lay an important foundation for future negotiations on Ukraine's vision of peace. Particularly, the peace formula includes restoring justice, countering ecocide, preventing escalation, and fixing the end of Russia's war, releasing all war prisoners and deportees, implementing the UN Charter, withdrawing Russian troops from Ukraine, ending Russia's hostilities, and withdrawing Russian troops from Ukraine. On Friday, the U.S. Treasury Department placed economic sanctions on 4 Russians who serve on the board of Alpha Group, one of Russia's largest conglomerates with holdings in oil and natural gas as well as banking. As a response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the ensuing war, the sanctions are part of ongoing efforts to restrict the Russian economy and its wealthiest powerbrokers. Petr Olegovich Aveyan, Mikhail Maritovich Friedman, German Borisovich Kahn, and Alexei Viktorovich Kuzmichev have all been blacklisted by the Treasury. Friedman holds citizenship in both Russia and Israel. According to Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo, wealthy Russian elites should disabuse themselves of the notion that they can operate business as usual while the Kremlin wages war against the Ukrainian people. Our global coalition will keep going after those responsible for Ukraine's invasion without provocation. Friedman, who was born into a Jewish family in the 1964 city of Lviv in western Ukraine, received his education in Moscow and went on to found an enormous business empire that spans the oil and gas industries as well as banking, telecommunications, and distribution. Most notably, he helped establish Alfa Bank, the largest private bank in Russia. Friedman is one of Russia's wealthiest tycoons and a co-founder of Alfa Group. After the European Union, EU, sanctioned the group's Alfa Bank in March 2022, Russia's largest non-state bank, Friedman resigned from the board to assist the bank in evading the sanctions. After EU sanctions, Aveyan, like Friedman, resigned as board chairman and led Alfa Bank until March 2022. Sanctions against them would make it impossible for them to access their assets in the United States. A Russian businessman was arrested in December in Britain on suspicion of money laundering, fraud against the Home Office, and perjury. He was reportedly named Friedman by Russian state media, but this has not been verified. After being questioned, he and 2 others involved in the case were released on bail. Friedman has built solid relationships within Putin's administration, but he has never been invited into the president's inner circle. He condemned the violence in Ukraine a day after the invasion, calling it a tragedy for all parties involved. In addition to his philanthropic support for Jewish organizations, Friedman helped establish the Genesis Philanthropy Group, whose annual award is often referred to as the Jewish Nobel. Due to sanctions, he and two other Russian billionaires resigned from the board of directors last year.